Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Great to have you here. This webinar is about raising website conversion in e-commerce with live chat. It's brought to you by Lemonstand and Userlike. Here we are. This is Sid from Lemonstand and me, Pascal from Userlike. We created this webinar together. We got in contact a few months ago and we realized that both our services are used by the same type of customer. These are online shops that are experiencing fast growth and that are looking to professionalize. Lemonstand offers the infrastructure for this, and live chat, what Userlike offers, it's generally a tool that becomes interesting for online shops once they get a bit bigger, once they reach a certain level of traffic. Then Sid already wrote about live chat in a Lemonstand blog post. And because of all the questions we got on this post, we decided to do a webinar together. So first, a quick introduction. Lemonstand is a e-commerce platform built for professional online retailers. They offer complete flexibility in the design of the store, which means that they have no checkout restrictions, no design restrictions, and also no transaction fees. And basically you are free to build whatever you want. They are trusted by some of the fastest growing e-commerce stores. I'm sure you recognize some of the brands here. They're headquartered in Vancouver, but their service is used worldwide. Also, they received the highest rating for an e-commerce platform on Merchant Maverick. Then like I said, I am the marketing guy from Userlike. So I just also quickly explain what Userlike is. So Userlike is a live chat software. I've been with the company from the start in 2011. Since then, we've grown our team into a team of 12 in total. A lot of good people. Our users and customers, they come mostly from Europe and specifically from Germany, which is also where we are located. But our second market is the USA. So, what's on the agenda for today? First, the overall goal is to give you tips about live chat to raise conversion on your website. And this is generally stated as the number one reason for implementing live chat, right before customer satisfaction and the lowering of service costs. So first, I want to give you a fundamental understanding of the differences between live chat and the two dominant or traditional support channels, phone and email. These two channels are there to stay, for sure, but live chat is better suited to fulfill certain types of communication. And the differences between these three channels, they have very important implications for how you should communicate. Which leads us to our second point, tips for conducting a live chat conversation. Here we share some tips on the way that you communicate over the chat. In general, people who communicate over the chat the same way as they normally communicate over phone or email, they are missing out on the benefits that live chat can offer. And the third point is us focusing on how to generate leads out of a chat. Basically, everyone can have a nice conversation with the web visitors, but we want to make you as effective as possible in actually creating customers out of these web visitors and leads out of those chats. Then finally, we talk about the optimal live chat setup on your website. There are many options for live chat in the way that you can set it up on your site, and we will focus on those options that will maximize for website conversion. So to start off with phone versus email versus live chat, the purpose here is to understand what are the fundamental differences and what it implies for your communication. Actually, one of the reasons why Userlike was started was because of a research paper on website communication, which was conducted by one of our founders, Timur Talvik, when he was at the end of his university years. He found that when website visitors cannot find the answer to their question on a website within 2 minutes that they entered on this website, they are 70% more likely to switch to another website than to reach out through phone or email. This may sound extreme, but if you just stop for a moment and think about how you surf on the web yourself, I think you'll find it's quite right. In general, you Google something, you try out the first hit, and if you don't find the answer or the product there, you will go back to the search results and try hit number 2. Basically, this developed into the realization that phone and email are not really fit channels for online commerce. For online shops, however, these are mostly still the only channels that they offer. So almost all online shops, they offer email, most also offer phone, but we see that only 9% of online shops, an estimated 9%, offers live chat as a support channel. This number here is based on Europe and it depends per industry, but for sure this is still a low number. It is, however, growing fast, much faster than the other channels, which is logical, but there are a few trends behind that. The first of these trends is availability of information. Basically, the internet and search engines, they've made consumers very spoiled and very lazy. They hate having to look for information. So you also cannot expect them to take too much effort. At the same time, it's not advisable to clutter your website with information either. This wouldn't really solve problems because of reduced user experience. Then live chat, it provides a middle way. When you have a question, you simply ask it. The second trend is that of the social company. Social media has had a real impact on the way that consumers interact with companies and the way that they experience brands. They expect companies to be accessible, to be transparent. And when there is a bad service experience, they are quite likely, much more than before, to share it on the web. Thankfully, they also share good experiences, but this just shows that service has gained in importance. Thirdly, chat has become a dominant communication channel for a huge proportion of the world population. It started out with chat rooms in the 90s, then MSN came into play. Now MSN is not as hot anymore as it used to be, but still everyone is text messaging now through either Facebook or WhatsApp, Snapchat, Tinder, and so on. So people are really used to the channel of chat. Now, before we continue, I would just like to give you quickly an idea of how live chat works, just for those who have never seen it in action. So I will just go here to our dummy account, let's say. So this is the chat panel. This is where, as an operator, you go online and then you are online to offer support on your website. So here we have the chat. Basically, a website visitor is just surfing over the web page. Then a question pops up. He opens the chat and he asks the question. And then this comes in on the other side as a chat. And you can answer this. And maybe answer with a chat macro, so you can send entire sentences. This is basically just to quickly give you an impression of how it works. That is live chat for websites in a nutshell. You see, if you look at the screen here, that it has some other benefits. For example, you have a lot of extra reference information on the side. You see the name, for example, of the person who visits, if they provided to you the email, but also you can see the URL that the person is on, or the location, what sort of system they are using. You can see the previous interactions that have been conducted with this person, if they were saved. So these are all benefits that you don't easily have when someone makes a phone call, for example. Now, to quickly go back to the slides, we had the trends. I wanted to just quickly discuss the fundamental differences in communication between live chat, phone, and email. I won't be telling you anything new here, but nothing that you don't know about email and phone already. But the consequences of these differences are important for the way that you communicate. So first off, when you look at phone, it's a medium that is real time. So yeah, the the visitor, he says something, or the customer, he says something, and immediately it comes in for the receiver. The medium is voice, obviously. Because of these 2 points, the intimacy level is quite high. It's only surpassed by face-to-face contact, and the location is generally off-site. With that I mean that it's not very common for website support issues to be resolved over the phone. Maybe you have experienced this before, it does happen, but in general it is quite annoying to have to explain someone on the other side what actions he or she should take on the website, just like it's annoying to receive these. Then email. Unlike phone, email is not in real time. Of course, visitors or customers, they do appreciate a fast response, but they don't expect immediate answers, which they do with a phone call. Then the medium is written. The disadvantage is that written is a bit slower. The advantage is that information can be looked back, so you don't depend on the memory capacities of your customer if you say something or if you explain something. Let's say they can always read back again to understand what was said again. Because it's not in real time and because it's written, the intimacy level of email is low. It's hard to build up a personal connection with someone over email. Then the location is almost always, actually always off-site. You cannot expect a customer to be on your website, then send an email with a question and expect him to stay on your website until he receives an answer through email, because customer will probably think it will take at least a few hours to get a response. And then when you look at live chat, you see that it is in a way a sort of mix between these two channels. So like phone, it is in real time, but like email, it is written. So it feels like a normal conversation somehow, but it is it is typed. Because of this, the intimacy level, it is in between those previous two channels. And the main benefit of live chat is that it is on-site. So the visitor does not have to leave the website to have an issue resolved, let's say. So then I'd just like to discuss the consequences for support with these channels in e-commerce. So when we take a look at phone, we see that the first disadvantage is that it takes effort to make a phone call. As a web visitor, you have to stop what you're doing, you have to stop your current process, you have to look for the phone number, type it in, and then make the call. So this means that you have to make a so-called media switch away from the website and to your phone. Also, many people, they in fact have a fear of making a call to a company. This is because you will be connected with a complete stranger. Just like most people, they have some difficulties talking to strangers on the street. At least it doesn't feel comfortable. The same it's with making a phone call because of this high intimacy level that we discussed in the previous slide. Finally, from the times that people have made calls to companies, many of these experiences have been poor. Actually, probably you and me, we all have experiences in this area, being consumers ourselves. Either you are put in a waiting queue, or you are referred between different service people and have to repeat your story over and over again, or of course they simply don't pick up. So this can make you feel like so. Then when we take a look at email, we have a similar effort involved, looking for the email address, switching to the email program, and then writing an elaborate message, because writing a proper email, it takes time. So this also means that there's a media switch away from your website, like discussed, that you cannot expect your web visitor to stick around waiting for the email. Thirdly, it's kind of an impersonal channel. It means it doesn't allow you to build up a connection with your customer. And then the real problem with email is that your customers, your web visitors, they have no idea how long they might have to wait on an answer. So this could be 10 minutes, it could also be 10 hours, or it could be a few days. So even if you have a very quick response time, what many companies, they aim for this, still the fact that your customers don't know this, it might deter them from reaching out at all. If you are a bit in a hurry, a bit in a rush, you will want to have an answer right away. So too many customers, they had this experience, and it prevents them from reaching out to email at all. Then, yeah, the obvious hero in our story, that's live chat. So with live chat, contact is only one click away, basically. So there's no effort, and because of this also, there's no media switch away from the website. Chat is, in a way, it's a sort of mix between the previous two channels, because it happens in close to real time, just in a written word. So this means that customers, they also expect fast answers, but the pressure on it is of closing the conversation is still less than with phone. Also, they can read back on what has been said, so there's less need of repetition, like there is an email. So that's how it is, a sort of combination. Obviously, chat is not as personal as hearing someone's voice, but there is still some sort of thrill of personal contact in there that allows you to create a personal connection. An extreme example of this is the online dating community, where a lot is based on chat interactions, and then based on this, people decide whether they actually want to meet a person or not. I remember that when I was a kid of 9 to 10 years, these chat rooms were really trending. In these rooms, you could start a private chat with a complete stranger, and of course you could pretend that you were someone else, just like the person on the other side might be someone else, and you're just two kids chatting to each other. But the point is that there was this thrill of personal contact, yet at the same time it was safe. Now, I think most of you will want to use live chat for a different purpose. The only point I'm trying to make here is that the level of intimacy of a chat, it does allow you to create a personal connection with your visitors. So it's at the same time, though, this level of safeness of a chat, it makes that customers more easily start a chat than that they would make a call. Like discussed, many people have a bit of a fear of making a call to a company because of being connected to a complete stranger. So this is like a barrier. And then chat provides, in comparison, a safe and enough intimate medium to make a connection, a personal connection. And then, yeah, finally, it is in real time. So, yeah, your customers, they can use it to get direct answers while staying on the website. Basically, with live chat, this is the feeling that we're aiming for. So, what can we take from this in tips for conducting a live chat conversation? Here are the key consequences first. So first, live chat is a write as you speak channel. So some people who are only familiar with email, they tend to write long email-like messages over the chat. And yeah, if you do this, you miss out on many of the benefits that chat has to offer. Secondly, the fact that it's written, it makes the chat that it's easy processing. So through chat you can communicate more complex information easier than you can communicate it over the phone. your customer, he can read back in the chat, and you also have the option to send the email transcript to him or to her, so they can read through it later on. Then thirdly, so-called come-as-you-go conversations are quite normal with chat. And what I mean by that is that although customers, they do expect quick answers, it is quite normal for them to have a delayed type of conversation while they are cruising over your website. For example, they move over your website, a question pops up, they click on the chat and ask it, they get the answer right away, they continue moving over the website for a few minutes, then another question pops up, they ask it again, they get the answer, and they continue. So there's basically a lack of pressure of closing down a conversation like you do have when you're making a phone call. And this lack of pressure, it makes live chat very suitable for e-commerce support. So without live chat, actually any of these questions that pop up during the website experience, they could be a reason for your customer to stop the process and to leave your website. So now let's get down to some real tips. What is important in live chat communication? So I'd just like to share with you some general principles that we think is good to stick to when you're conducting a live chat conversation. The first is to keep it conversational. So remember that live chat is a mix between phone and email. So it's advisable to split up longer communication into shorter messages. This will make things more digestible. For example, you can have a chat flow where you say, "Yes, I understand your question." Then you send it. "Let me explain." Send. The first step you take, send. So this way you split it up, your long story, into small parts, and it also allows your web visitor to intervene when there's something they don't understand or there's a point they would like you to expand on. That is one of the reasons why email support is often so inefficient, because in email support people tend to write very long messages back and forth, and maybe the people on the other end, they only reply on certain parts of your email. So this is a bit annoying from email. And if you would break it up into small parts, your email, you have advocates of email who say you should only send emails with one topic. Well, then the fact that it's not instant makes that email support becomes very long. So this is why with live chat we advise you to split it up into small parts. Second point is to adjust to your chat partner. Unlike phone, it's hard to make an assessment of the age or the attitude of the person that you are chatting to. So try to adjust to his or to her style. In general, live chat is more informal than email, but there are also some, let's say, old school customers out there who may prefer a more formal conversation. This is also culturally bound. For example, I noticed that in Germany, the chats are much more formal than they are in the United States or that they are in the Netherlands. Thirdly, it's advisable to express yourself positively and in a straightforward manner. So with this, you can set a positive vibe. Basically, it's also very difficult to read between the lines with live chat. So you should avoid ambiguous messages that could maybe be perceived as negative in a way. Then principle number 4 is that speed is king. So while it is important to avoid structural spelling errors, which could make you look unprofessional, it's not necessary to obsess over typos. Because sometimes you have people who want to write the perfect message, like they're writing the perfect email, but live chat is supposed to be a fast channel, so speed is much more important than how perfect your sentences are. Also, since your web visitor does not have a direct view on whether you are listening, it is important to let them know that you are there. So even if you don't know the answer or you have to think about it for a while, just let your web visitor know with a short message that you caught what they said, and that you are posing it in a way. For in customer support in general, being heard is at least as important as that the problem is being solved. So maybe sometimes it's not in your power to solve the issue, but as long as as you are there for the customer and you listen to what they have to say, it's already half of a good service, let's say. Then, I also wanted to give you some smaller, quick tips for your chat language. The first is to rephrase what your customer said. By rephrasing, you can be sure that you understood it correctly, and your customer can be sure that you are paying attention. Second is to prevent filler words. These are especially persistent in the spoken word. Probably I've thrown in a couple of myself already during this presentation, but they can also slip into chat, and with chat it can really be avoided. Filler words, they are words such as it's like, kind of, very, sort of, it's just. These sort of words, they make your statements less clear. Then third point is to repeat the customer's name a few times if possible. So this is just like with the spoken word, it creates a personal connection. Nothing in the end sounds as sweet as hearing your own name. Then listening indicators. So this goes back to what I said in the previous slide about letting people know that you're there. So imagine your web visitor is typing a story into short sentences. You can say things like, yes, I see. And this way you show that you are listening and that you are on track. Then the use of emoticons. It is not controlled by everybody, but they can be a powerful tool as to communicate non-explicit information. So, for example, when you're making a joke, it's good to use an emoticon to indicate that you are making a joke, to prevent the other person from interpreting it as something serious. Of course, you shouldn't go over the top with these, as some people they tend to do in WhatsApp or on Facebook. Like for professional live chat communication, don't need more than the standard 3 smileys, I would say. Then finally, laughing. This is another cue for below the water communication. So non-explicit communication. So some people have difficulty doing this over the chat. It feels weird and unnatural to actually type ha ha ha. Yet it is a good idea to get used to it, because just like it's kind of rude to not laugh when someone is making a joke over the phone or in real life. With live chat, you don't really have this feedback, so you have to generate it. We advise you to really type it out. Then, generating leads. This is also a vital part of live chat. Here, the most important rule to remember, this is the one that we always stress for our own chat team, is that you should prevent letting the web visitor leave without getting the contact details. So with the contact details, you can follow up, for example, through email. So sometimes this is not possible, but this should be the goal. Also, it's advisable to take on a helping approach instead of an aggressive selling one. So with a selling approach, people might feel pushed, and they'll simply close the chat window. So this selling approach, it might work on the phone or in real life. You can kind of push somebody into doing something, to making the transaction. But via live chat, it's just the barrier for closing the chat is just too low. So because of this, take on a helping approach instead. Then some tips on how you can get the visitor to leave his contact details. One is to propose to send additional information via email. So maybe the customer or the web visitor showed interest into a certain product. You can give some information of this product, and then ask whether the customer would like to receive more information via email. Then agreeing on a follow-up call is also, of course, always good. So setting a future date to talk further. Adding to the newsletter. This is what we often do for when a visitor is not ready to make a commitment yet, but they would like to stay up to date with the company. When you have this feeling, then you can offer to add them to your newsletter. Offer a special deal. This is also a smart way. Let's say if it looks like the customer he won't be making the transaction today, to be more sure that he will come back in the future, you can, for example, offer a coupon with a limited time offer to make sure that he does come back. And then this last point is that it's always advisable to send your conversation to your customer relationship management tool. So with this you can easily follow up. We offer various integrations with our software with Userlike. For example, with Pipeline Deals, Pipedrive, Salesforce, and through this you can easily follow up at a later time. Then, some tips on how to set up live chat on your website in a way that you can optimize for conversions. So firstly, a very important aspect here is the chat button, the where and how it is placed. Now we collected some data from our user set, and from this we've seen what practices they work best. So the first is the positioning. So we recommend the positioning in the bottom right of the website's page because it leads to an average of 20% higher chat interactions. Also, the coloring is very important. A mistake we see quite often is that people they want to blend in the chat button so much into the website that they choose exactly the same colors of the website, with the result that people don't actually see the chat button. This is why we recommend complementary colors, because it leads to 15% higher chat interactions. So this is also if not complementary colors, at least to take this into consideration, that at least your web visitors should be able to see the option there. And then the eye catcher, that's basically an extension you can add to your chat button. We used to have a very large eye catcher, but maybe you saw it also in the chat when I showcased it. Now it's quite small. And the innovation we made there is to add the image of the service operator, basically. So this way we found that the eye catcher can be much smaller, but because there's a human face there, it automatically and in a natural way attracts the attention of the website visitor. This has a very strong effect. It can increase chat interactions with 30%. Then, I wanted to show you here an example of a customer who did basically everything by the book. So in the bottom right corner with good colors they have an actionable text inside the chat button, which also helps. And then I also wanted to show you some different things that you can do with the chat button. Basically, we have our standard chat buttons, which work well, and most of our customers use them. But you can also create your very own chat button. Basically, you can attach the chat element to any element on your website, so that visitors, when they click on it, it opens the chat. So here we have a creative customer, and he made this little wooden guy. He turned that into the chat button. And this is a different website of theirs. I like this one even more because it has a penguin. So this is nice creative ways to make use of the chat. So, except for the placement, the behavior or the logic that you set up for the chat, it also has a big influence on how your system performs. So one major tool here is the proactive chat. So this is this allows you to automatically invite web visitors based on the time that they spend on the website. For example, you can set up the chat to open after 2 minutes. And then there are probably two tactics employed here. The first is the welcoming tactic, and then you have the doubting tactic. So with the welcoming tactic, people, they set up a low invitation timeout, and this way everyone on the website is welcomed with a message, and they are made aware that actually live chat is an option. With the doubting tactic, on the other hand, the goal is to catch web visitors who are doubting. So with this approach, you look at the average time that your visitor spends on a page by looking at your analytics system, and then you can set the timeout of your proactive chat a bit higher than that, and then you will catch visitors that are slow, which might indicate that they're experiencing difficulties and that they have a question. So for example, you have your checkout page. You know that on average it takes 4 minutes for your web visitors to complete the checkout process. So then you set your proactive chat on 4 minutes and 30 seconds, for example. And this way you can catch visitors that are about to give up. That's the doubting tactic. Then you can also ask your web visitors to register before they start a chat. So this is a very valuable tool to collect leads and to also to filter out the more valuable chats instead of allowing everyone to start a chat with you. You can set these values that the visitors have to fill in to start a chat yourself. So you can choose for email, name, but also phone. We have website for our own chat because that's very important for us. And then you can also connect it to Facebook to have your visitors log in using a Facebook login. Then we also offer an open API, and this allows you, among some other things, to set up advanced behavior for the chat. So for example, you can set up that the chat window only opens when a certain value of products is in the shopping basket. So this way you only focus on those real high value customers on your website. Then finally, when no operators are online, it's still possible to collect leads by using an offline contact form. So basically an offline contact form works as the same as your web visitor sending you an email. Just the difference is that they don't have to leave your website to do so. Then finally, I just wanted to give you an impression of how easy it is to set up chat on your own site. So using Lemon Stand system as a showcase. So you see here the backend of Lemon Stand. You choose your theme. You go to the partial section, to the section layout foot. Basically, if you register at Userlike, you get a unique Userlike code. This you copy and you paste inside this part of your Lemon Stand backend. And then when you update and you go online at Userlike, you are already ready to offer service. So that's how easy it is. So if this is you right now, then your next logical question, it would be, what are the costs? Well, these here they are normal prices. As you can see, we offer a free product and then premium products that are charged monthly or half yearly or yearly. Then basically when you register at Userlike, you get 2 weeks trial of the theme version, the middle version you see here. So you can basically try out all the different features and get a feeling of what product is right for you, whether free is good for you or you can roll on with a higher version. Then, as we promised before, Userlike and Lemon Stand, we offer a special deal to the attendees of this webinar in order to celebrate our cooperation. And this deal is the following. Userlike users, they can use Lemon Stand the first 3 months with a 50% discount. And on the other hand, Lemon Stand users, they can extend their trial of Userlike with a full how many months was it? With a full 2 months. Yeah. So basically, both of these perks, they can be redeemed with coupon codes, and we will send it to you after the webinar, these codes. In case that you watch this webinar in its recorded version, then you can also send an email to pascal@userlike.com, and you can ask me directly for these coupons, and I will send them over to you. So I hope, of course, that this is how you're feeling right now. Well, that's all for today. I hope it was informative for you, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be happy, of course, to answer any questions that you might have. You can contact me personally on pascal@userlike.com. Also, you can contact our support at support@userlike.com if you don't want to talk to me in person for some reason. So yeah, thanks a lot for your attention. Also, I'd like to thank Sid for this opportunity, and Sid from Lemon Stand. And yeah, we are looking forward to hearing from you. So hope to see you in the future. Bye bye.